Hello book nerds! I finished reading Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll. I loved this book. Well, technically it's two books, but in my edition they're together, so it's one book. The animated Disney movie Alice in Wonderland is my absolute favorite Disney movie. I had never read the books that movie was based on, and I am throwing my daughter an Alice in Wonderland themed birthday party this year, and I thought, you know what, I should read the books before her party so I can get some more inspiration. And oh my goodness, I'm so glad that I read this because this was just so much fun. I'm going to talk about the book, but I will try my best not to spoil anything. Honestly, this book just embodies childhood imagination. The entire thing is just pure childhood invention at its finest. And even though I'm an adult reading this, it just takes me back to when I was a kid and how I could spend hours and hours just making up worlds and living in those worlds. And that is exactly what this is. In Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, most people know that Alice sees a white rabbit go down a rabbit hole and she follows him, and shenanigans ensue from there, and it's a nonsense world and nothing makes sense. And Through the Looking Glass is pretty much the same thing. She, very early in the story, climbs through a looking glass and shenanigans ensue and everything's backwards and topsy-turvy. And both stories are just so fun. The animated Disney movie kind of combines elements from both of these stories. It was so fun to read the stories that inspired the movie that I loved so much since I was a kid. It was just a big nostalgia trip, honestly, through the whole thing. I think a great child's story can still be enjoyed by adults, so I don't care that I'm an adult reading a children's classic. I think it's awesome. I think this gets overlooked a lot, and I think more people should read it because it's just so much fun. It's so lighthearted, and there's so much crap going on in this world, let's be honest, and we could use a little lighthearted fun every now and then. I did another video about Lewis Carroll's Jabberwocky poem that's in Through the Looking Glass. You can check that out if you want. I won't elaborate too much on it here. I just want to say that I love that poem, and I think it is amazing that in the animated Disney movie they have the Cheshire Cat saying the Jabberwocky as his intro. And I never realized that until I read the book. That just was the most fun little Easter egg for me. I might be way behind. Everyone maybe knows that that's what he was saying. When I was little, I just thought he was making up nonsense. But it's not. It's actually Lewis Carroll's poem. So that's pretty neat. The Cheshire Cat is my favorite character of all time. I love him so much. So the fact that I love the Jabberwocky and I love the Cheshire Cat, and the Cheshire Cat says the Jabberwocky in the Disney movie is just so fun for me. I really am bad about rating books, so I would give this a 5-star rating, but I don't know if it's really 5-star rating. For me, if I enjoy something and I'm gonna keep the book on my shelf, it's a 5-star. It doesn't mean it's perfect. There are things that aren't perfect about it, but I'm really bad when it comes to rating books, so you really shouldn't put too much stock in my 5-star ratings, but know that if I give something a 5-star, it means that I enjoyed it, and I will put it on my shelf, and I'll probably reread it at some point because I just enjoyed it that much. I've never seen the Disney live action for this. I've only ever seen the animated movie. I don't watch a lot of movies. I'll just be honest, I don't. But now that I've read the book, I definitely want to go watch the Disney movie again. But now I'm thinking about watching the live action just to see. I like to read books first and then watch movies. So that's probably why I never watched the live action, because I hadn't read the book. But I had seen the Disney movie since I was a little tiny kid. So, I mean, you can't always read the book first, I guess. But I'm still so glad that I read this, even though I pretty much knew what was going to happen the whole time. It was just so much fun. So I want to talk about the ending, so I guess I am going to spoil a little bit. It's not going to really spoil the story, but if you still want to skip this part, fast forward, and I'm sorry. But I just got to talk about this because Through the Looking Glass ends with this little poem, and it's: a boat beneath a sunny sky, lingering onward dreamily in an evening of July. Children three that nestle near, eager eye and willing ear, pleased a simple tale to hear. Long has paled that sunny sky, echoes fade and memories die, autumn frosts have slain July. Still she haunts me phantom-wise, Alice moving under skies, never seen by waking eyes. Children yet the tale to hear, eager eye and willing ear, lovingly shall nestle near. In a wonderland they lie, dreaming as the days go by, dreaming as the summers die. Ever drifting down the stream, lingering in the golden gleam, life, what is it but a dream? The first letter of each line of this poem spells out Alice's full name, and that's cute. But the reason I want to talk about this little poem is because what I take away from it is that when we were young, we spent all of our time being Alice. We were imaginative and lived in a dream world and loved it. And now, reading this as an adult, I am no longer living in a dream world like a child, but I still enjoy trips back to that dream world, like reading this book. The nostalgia is real. It's real. You long for those days, and you think fondly back on those days. Life, what is it but a dream? As a child, you spend all your time dreaming, and honestly, you live so much by doing that. And now as an adult, I don't live like that, but I live in dream worlds a lot when I'm reading, and that is how I get fulfillment in my life. And I don't know, I just liked this ending to this story. It's very deep, and I wasn't expecting it. So what's next for me now that I've finished this book? I am a person that can only read one book at a time. Scratch that. I'm a person that prefers to only read one book at a time. I have read more than one book at a time before, but I don't like to. I wanted to read something kind of spooky because Halloween's coming up, and I love Halloween. It's my favorite holiday. So I decided I was going to start Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I've read the introduction so far, and I'm a little ways into the preface, but I'm not very far yet. I have never read this before. I've heard great things about it. Obviously, it's a classic. I love classics, but this is obviously a way different kind of classic than Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I loved this book. This was just so fun, and I definitely recommend it. Go and read Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. I don't think you will be disappointed. I know I wasn't. The Cheshire Cat, man, I loved him just as much in this as the Disney movie. His famous line, "We're all mad here." Oh, love it. I just love it. I actually have a sticky note on my desk at work that says, "We're all mad here." So, if you've read this, let me know what you thought. And if you haven't read it, let me know why you haven't, and if you plan on reading it. And tell me if you loved it as much as me, and if you didn't love it, let me know why, and we can talk about it. Thanks for talking books with me.